Hey, gamer friends, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Josiah, and we are ready to roll. We are going to answer the question, what is our number one game from the last 5 years?
Every single year.
Every single year.
For the last 5 years, what's our number one game of that year?
Yep. 2020, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Yeah.
This list was so much harder than I thought it was going to be.
It seriously is, especially 2024.
It was a good
That was
year.
a banger year.
Yes. All right. So shall we get into it?
Let's do it.
All right. 2020. Mm-hmm. This was the year of the pandemic.
Yep.
This was the year that changed people's lives forever.
Yep.
And it was kind of a good good year for board gaming.
It was.
Because a lot of people got into the hobby in 2020.
So my number one game of 2020 is Viscounts of the West Kingdom.
It's a great game.
Yeah. And a surprising one for me.
Yes.
I am not a West Kingdom fan.
You might be now. You might have to just consider yourself a West Kingdom fan.
Okay. We haven't played the other one, so
in a while.
So I'll reserve that judgment.
Okay, sounds good.
But Viscounts is easily and by far my favorite of the West Kingdom games. It is a game essentially where you are going around this circular track, and there are two levels of it, an upper and a lower, and you are either building buildings or filling up the castle or gathering books to score points. And there is a card, I don't know what you would call it. It's not a shedding or deck building.
No.
I mean, it kind of is deck building.
There is a deck building element because you can purchase cards and add them to your deck.
Yeah, but it's not a super big part of it.
No. You get to use the resources that are on those cards that are on your tableau, and then they slide
it's like a rotating through your deck. Yeah.
And you have a hand of cards, and you get to pick one of your hand and put it on as the next card.
Right.
So you can't even call that the hand. It's like literally your cards that are in your tableau at the time.
Right. Yeah. And so anyway, it's just a super fun game. It's not like a super fast game, but it doesn't feel long.
No, it doesn't.
I would say it's probably somewhere in between 30 and 60 minutes.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't feel like a long game. It feels like a shorter game.
Right. Yeah. I really have enjoyed playing that game. I've enjoyed just the nuances, like learning the nuances of how can I win if I pick this strategy? I love games like that where you're trying to okay, I'm going to build as many buildings as possible, and I'm going to go after the books. And they say you can't win if you go after the books, but let me see if I can make it happen.
You can't. Let me just tell you, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I'll have to see it to believe it. I what I love about this game is that I have found my path on this game, and that is very satisfying to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am building buildings and filling up the castle.
Right.
And that's all I try to do.
Well, my number one game of 2020 is The Loop. Again, another surprise, because we've talked about this
very
so many
surprising
times that we didn't like it at first, and now we do. But what I really enjoy about The Loop is it's cooperative, which we really enjoy cooperative games.
Yep.
And Dr. Foe is trying to ruin things all through time, and you are chasing him through different eras.
Right.
And there's this little tower, kind of like a dice tower in the middle of the board that you drop these cubes down, and wherever they go, they are wreaking havoc in those eras. And you're having to clear those. So there's some management, is chaos management in the game. And then you're also having to slide these little tiles over and get them into the correct eras to clear. Mm-hmm. So there's some really fun things to do with that. And then there's also cards that are around the game board.
The objectives. Are you talking? Oh, I see.
No.
You're
I was
not
talking
there
about
yet.
the other cards. There's cards around the board that you can build up your own deck with. So there's another little deck building element. It's not huge.
Right.
But you're building up your deck, and you can use those cards then on later turns. And they're all kind of silly. The whole game is silly.
It is.
And it plays into being silly.
Yeah, it leans into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
And so you can play this, I think, with kids, and they would have a really good time with it.
Right.
Because it's silly and fun, and there's that cooperative element so you can like help them play, but also there's enough there for gamers to really enjoy playing the game, I think.
Right. Yeah. And like she said, we have talked about this before, but when we played this, the first several times that we played it, we didn't enjoy it.
Right.
And then it sat on our shelf for probably a couple of years. And we finally got it back out. And I don't know if it's just the level of gamer that we're at now, but it was so much fun. And
maybe there's more of an appreciation for those lighter games.
Maybe.
You know, there was a period of time where we didn't want to play as many of the really light family weight games.
Right.
So maybe that was what it was. It's like, now I really appreciate those types of games and can enjoy them.
Yeah, maybe. So anyway, we love it now.
Yes.
Yeah. And what I was saying earlier is there on the outside of the circular board where the arrows are, there's objectives that you unlock that help. That's how you win the game.
Yes.
Is you have to fulfill these objectives, and it can be multiple different things that you have to do, but you have to fulfill, I can't remember, 3 of them or something like that.
I think so. Yeah, something like that.
To win the game. Anyway, super fun game.
Really enjoyed it. So those are our number 1 games of the year 2020.
Yep. And for 2021, my favorite game was Dice Throne Monk versus Paladin.
Yeah, specifically. Because the different Dice Throne boxes came out different years.
Yep. But that one specifically because I love the Monk.
Yes.
Yeah. It just, for me, the play style is so good. It provides a lot of defense and offense in a very fulfilling way or satisfying way for me. And I love Dice Throne. Dice Throne is one of our favorite games, as you can see behind me here. Yes. And so that one is just one of my favorites.
Right. That one is not one of my favorite boxes. The Paladin is pretty good. The Monk is pretty good, but definitely not one of my favorite boxes. But I know that you have played the Monk so many times. He's one of your favorite characters to play, and you're good at maximizing the Monk. Yeah. And so you tend to win a lot when you play the Monk because you know exactly all the ins and outs of him and how to make him like work for you really well. Right. I feel like, and so it makes sense.
I channel my inner monk.
Is that what it is?
My inner ninja.
Inner ninja. Yeah, that's it. All right, my favorite game of 2021 will come as no surprise because it is Ark Nova, and Ark Nova is just a great game. And I know that there are haters out there, but it's number 3 on BGG's top 100. So
for a reason.
Yeah.
And a caveat, this would have been my number 1
That's true.
game of 2021 as well, but we didn't want to have the same one. That's boring.
Yes, it is.
So, but that is there's an asterisk there.
Yes.
That Ark Nova would be my number 1 as well.
Right. I mean, who doesn't love building out a zoo and trying to maximize the primates or whatever it is? Yeah. I just love everything about Ark Nova. I'm not going to talk about it in length because we've done that so many times. But it is a great, great game.
And we have personally never had an experience where we played this game with someone else and they didn't enjoy it and they didn't really love it.
Yeah, I can't think of one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good times.
My favorite game of 2022 comes with a caveat as well. And that is I'm choosing Clank Catacombs as my favorite. However, Frosthaven came out this year.
Yes.
I have not played through Frosthaven. We've only played maybe a dozen scenarios, 10 to 12 scenarios, so barely getting into it. I know for sure that it would be my number 1 if I had played through it. If I had gotten a chance to play through it. No doubt in my mind. Because Gloomhaven, I love, is my all-time number 1 favorite game.
Right.
And you would see that, spoiler, I guess, if you haven't seen our top 50 games of all time, 1 through 10, but or 10 through 1. But yes, so Frosthaven would be my number 1, but I haven't played through it all, so I'm going with Clank Catacombs, which is way up on my list. Yes. I won't spoil that one in case you haven't seen that video yet, but it is such a great game. I love the fact that you don't know what the dungeon looks like.
That is the best part about Clank Catacombs because you get that explorer element.
Yes.
Which you get to flip over a tile and orient it and see. There is one thing about Clank Catacombs, though. is one time there's different points in the game where it will have you turn tiles.
Yeah.
And there was one game that we played where I got stuck.
You did.
And literally couldn't do anything the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And so to me, that moved Clank Catacombs from like the best Clank of all time down a little bit.
Yeah. I will say, though, that I'm not sure that's entirely fair because it happened to be that it had to be the exact right move because it was a 180-degree flip.
Correct.
It's not one where you could reorient it where you wanted.
No.
It was an exactly 180-degree flip, and you had to have the combination of cards that wouldn't allow you out of that.
Right.
So it was like such a niche, like perfect storm kind of thing.
I know.
For that to happen.
Yeah, but still, it did happen, and I couldn't go anywhere for the entire rest of the game.
I'm still campaigning for you.
I'm like,
for Catacombs.
I was so frustrated in that game. I was like, we can just end it. It doesn't matter. We can just end this game because I was so mad I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate.
Yeah,
I will grant you that it was very unfortunate.
But other than that was my only bad experience with that game. Other than that, I've absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
We even got the expansion for that one, and I enjoyed that as well. So
yeah, and you got me a player mat, like a play mat where it has it's like a custom designer mat with player mats in front of you and the board and all of that.
It's really cool.
Super cool.
My number one pick for 2022 was Sea Salt and Paper.
So good. Isaac is going to love you so much.
This one is so far up on my list as well. And you guys know that if you, again, have watched our top 50 of all time. But Sea Salt and Paper is so good.
It is.
And you can take it anywhere and you can play it so fast. And we've played it on BGA and we've played it a ton in person. So much so that our cards are looking a little sad.
Yeah.
We do not. That's one we do not have the expansion for that we need to have the expansion for.
Yeah, we should buy that.
I think it's called More Salt.
Yeah.
I think. But anyway, we need that expansion for that game.
We do.
Because we've played it so many times.
And I never get tired of it.
No, it's so good.
I mean, there's just very few games that I can play as many times as we've played Sea Salt and Paper and not get tired of it.
That's true.
So it speaks volumes to the quality of the game and how well it's played and designed.
I agree. And 2022, when we looked back, that was such a good year for games. I thought, look at this. Oh, we just kept saying that like over and over. Oh, look at this game. But anyway,
I guess if there's a silver lining for the pandemic,
yes,
a bunch of great games were spawned in the time where everybody was locked up.
That's true. Yeah. Everybody was stuck at home and playing games.
Yeah.
So that is true. All right, 2023.
2023. Do you want me to keep going first, I guess? Okay. My number one game of 2023 is Sky Team.
Yes.
Oh, it's so good.
So good.
I mean, we played it almost 50 times in a row.
I know. So good.
We played through all 20 scenarios of the base game. And we loved it so much that we bought the expansion scenarios. We haven't played through them yet.
Yes.
But we did just purchase them.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen the video where we talked about games that grew on us, this one was one that we put on the list because the first few times, it wasn't that we didn't enjoy it. We did, but it was just like, oh, okay, that was good.
Right.
Like, that's how we felt about the game. But we were like, let's just keep going. Let's keep going. And then it was just like, then we were super into it. There were times we were like, it was just like those epic moments and where we almost did it and then lost the scenario or whatever. And it just made for such great gameplay.
It just kept pulling us in more and more and more. And so where we couldn't, it was like one of those, it was like a book you can't put down, kind of thing.
We're like, no, we have to beat the scenario. Let's go again.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, what else can you say? It's such a good game.
It is. So on my number one for 2023, it came with the caveat as well. Because on my top 50 games of all time, I talked about Expeditions and how much I loved Expeditions. And I know that that's kind of a hot take because a lot of people were disappointed. I don't know if they thought that like it was going to be just like Scythe or what. But anyway, a lot of people were disappointed in the game. That was not my experience. I have enjoyed playing that game. I really like it. I like the decisions that I make. I like the exploration element. I just like it. I think it's a great game. But I do have to say that we have recently started playing the White Castle.
Yeah.
And that also came out in 2023. And so if I'm sticking to we're picking the games that we want to play right now.
Yeah.
And the White Castle, I'm kind of into right now.
It's so good.
It's really good. Our dog is barking again.
Yeah, she always likes to make appearances.
She does. But anyway, I really enjoy the White Castle. You are trying to move up in the White Castle, I guess, and you have warriors and you have gardeners and you have courtiers and different things that you can do with different meeples.
Yeah, it looks like it's set in feudal Japan era. Yeah, it's really fun. There's dice drafting, which we love.
Yes.
And dice placement. And yeah, it's a great game. I think it's way better than Expeditions.
Yes.
In my opinion. But you're going with White Castle.
I'm going with White Castle because it's what I want to play right now.
Yeah, okay.
And that's kind of how we typically make our list, is like, what are you into right now? What would you play right now? And that's one that I would play right now.
Yeah. All right. And then we get to the year that was the hardest for us to choose.
Yeah, there were so many great
2024
games.
Was a banger.
Yes.
Wow, there were so many good games in 2024. And also, caveat for the both of us for this list, we haven't played through all of our 2024 games.
Yeah, so we have a couple that we haven't played.
Yep.
And so this list is probably going to change again. We made like a top 10 list of 2024. Either was it at the end of 2024 or just after 2025?
I think it was at just after.
Yeah. So we had a top 10 list of 2024 games. We're going to revisit that list at the end of 2025 when we've played through so many more of our 2024 games, and revisit it and see what games are still on it, which ones have moved, because I think that'll be a really fun list to see.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, we've looked at this list, and this is what we came up with.
Yes. Okay. So this such a hard decision for me to make, but I went with Slay the Spire.
Right.
That is my number one game of 2024.
Not a surprise, really.
No, it's not a surprise. What was surprising was how difficult it was for me to choose, because when I saw Slay the Spire on the list, I was like, oh, well, this will be easy. But then it wasn't.
Yes.
There were so many good games on there that, I could have chose easily.
Yes. Top 10 list will be no problem. We could come up with a top 20, top 30 list probably of 2024 games.
Easily. Yeah. But anyway, Slay the Spire, I just love it so much. It helps fulfill that D&D sort of vibe that I love so much, and dungeon crawl feel and combat and all of that kind of good stuff. That's my pick. Slay the Spire.
It's a good one. My pick for 2024, I went back and forth, and I finally landed on Wormspan.
Yeah.
And I really liked Wormspan, and I think I went with it because I played it the most.
Yeah.
And so it was really tough because I was like, I don't know. But I've played Wormspan more than most of the other games because it came out at the beginning of 2024.
Right.
And we got it right away.
Yeah.
And so we've had an opportunity to play it quite a few times at this point. And so I know a lot more about the game. I know the ins and outs, and I have a lot more plays of that game. And so it just had to get that number one spot for me because I still enjoy it every single time that we play that game.
Yeah. What's interesting is that now that I'm thinking through it, it's what I would have picked for you if I were picking your number one game of 2024. And you probably would have picked Slay the Spire for me.
I would have.
Yeah. So we ended up where we needed to be.
I guess so.
But it was just a tough decision for us personally, internally, getting to that point. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. It'll be really neat to go back to this and see what our number one of 2024 is at the end of this year after we've played through more of those games.
Right.
And then put our top 10 list. Will these stay the same? They could. I don't know.
They could, yeah. One thing I will note is that just yesterday, well, from the time we're filming this, not when you're seeing it, but I was asked by somebody at church if they could come, if we could come and schedule a time for them to come play Wormspan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they're not board gamers.
Okay.
And they're not in the hobby. And so, but they heard about it and wanted to play it, and so asked if they could come play it with us. So I'm very excited to do that. I want to teach them the game, and
that will be fun. We should totally do that.
Yeah, it'll be a blast.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.
And tell us down below what your favorite games are from those 5 years. We definitely would love to hear about that from you. And also subscribe and like the video, please.
Yes. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.